Consumerism has highly impacted the role of a midwife and therefore has impacted the ways of childbirth. In 1904, formal midwifery training in New Zealand originated. Primarily, midwives were autonomous practitioners and offered care for women at either the comfort of their own homes or in local maternity units, coordinated by midwives. Training to be a midwife involved a large amount of practical training and a minor amount of formal classes in preparation to become an autonomous practitioner. As the world developed in scientific research, this largely influenced the medical world. This formed a power imbalance which led to midwives progressively losing their ability to practice as autonomous professionals. This led to a decrease in home births and a rise in the obstetric intervention of birth. In 1971, alterations in the law saw midwifery change to obstetric nursing, which therefore required supervision of a doctor for all practicing midwives. These changes then altered the form of study in which was required to become a midwife. In order to become a midwife, you had to be a registered nurse, and therefore undergo advanced nursing qualifications. As a result, the midwifery care in New Zealand declined, therefore the demand increased on overseas midwives. But it was consumerism which then led to a change. The voice of women in New Zealand sparked a change which had powerful effects on childbirth and midwifery. Women fought for their voice to be heard and their views to be valued as they rejected the medicalisation of childbirth and instead pursued the need for it to be seen as a normal life event. Action groups which aided in provoking this in 1953, 1978 and 1983 respectively were the groups such as Parent Centre, the Home Birth Association and Save the Midwives. This led to the uprise of the consumers' voices, the women of Aotearoa advocating for practice which they wanted and they felt best suited their needs throughout childbirth. Therefore they strived for re-establishment of midwifery as an autonomous practice, in the hope that midwives would provide them with the ability to be in control of their labour and childbirth. Midwives also strived for the return of autonomous practice, as they had these strong beliefs in that they could provide safe care for women. The effects of the consumers' voices being heard led to the political action during the 1980s, which led to the reinstatement of midwifery autonomy, and the separation of midwifery education from nursing was advocated to be reviewed. In 1990, the consumers won, and a law change was made that reinstated midwives as autonomous practitioners. This shed a light on the option of direct entry into midwifery education. The political partnership of women and midwives also laid the foundation for New Zealand's model of midwifery partnership. It was the voice of the women crying out that they wanted change, that led to the change of midwifery practice. Consumerism played a large role in the impact of childbirth and midwifery in Aotearoa. If it was not for the voice of the women standing for what they wanted, there would not have been a change. Women want to be in control of their bodies, and women want to be able to have care that they know is best for them and their baby. This is why they used their voices. They used their voices to enable change. 2/3 of women had registered with a lead maternity carer in 2014. This shows how the past effects surrounding consumerism have impacted the world today. Being pregnant is like opening the door to a whole new journey. Women are often fearful of what to expect, yet also have a large glimmer of excitement for the life they are about to bring into the world. The interpretive paradigm majorly influences childbirth and midwifery. Childbirth is a huge part of a woman's life, and when they experience it, they often enjoy sharing their experiences with other women, the good and the bad, which therefore shapes the way in which women gain knowledge of childbirth. The woman's storytelling of the birth can either give or change perceived ideas around childbirth. Women's stories and experiences of being cared for by midwives is also shared through storytelling, which can influence midwifery and has done in the past, as the experience of a woman under midwifery care can be expressed to others in a way which shapes their views of midwifery care. Partnership between the woman and the midwife is the foundation of midwifery, which was generated from women's experiences. Parent Centre are a group which were formed in the 1950s with the purpose to re-empower midwifery and move it away from medicalised childbirth. The formation of this group was based on women's experiences. Because the women were unhappy of their medicalised care during birth, they shared these bad experiences, which then informed the need for a change. The medicalisation of birth meant that midwives were less able to build partnership and trust with women, so it reduced the woman's ability to share stories and past experiences with their midwives and healthcare professionals, which may have played a vital role in their pregnancy, labour and birth. The interpretive paradigm links to the social construction of knowledge, as it is through lived experiences that people are able to share and develop perceptions towards a particular topic based on the possibility of someone else's experience. Or they may gain knowledge which is only gained from experience, such as the knowledge I received from my Nana's storytelling, as it provided me with knowledge which would have not have gained from a textbook or from life's journey, but rather from her lived experience.
I was 16 and I was allocated to a children's hospital, which I loved. I was in my element. And there was one ward where there was a little girl. Her name was Marilyn. This little girl was dying of cancer. Beautiful little girl, blonde hair, but she couldn't move or anything. She was in bed the whole time. And I had a wonderful staff nurse on the ward and a sister, and I said to them the one day, they allowed me to play my music, and then I said to the sister, may I please take Marilyn and dance with her? And the sister said, sure. I took Marilyn in my arms, and there was my favourite song on the radio, Elvis. And I danced with her like that, and she loved it. She smiled and she really loved it. Did that a few times, and then we were taken away from the hospital to go back to college again. My darling, it was the most beautiful experience I've ever had.
I discovered from Nana's story that it is the mental and emotional care which is just as important as the physical care in the medical world. As a healthcare professional, you're treating both. The interpretive paradigm constructs the way in which we gain knowledge. Storytelling is a powerful way of gaining knowledge. Women share their stories of birth, whether it be in a medical setting or under the care of a midwife, which can generate ideas surrounding childbirth and midwifery. It is through these stories that people make assumptions, which shapes the way in which society view different aspects of childbirth and midwifery. Storytelling is a powerful way of gaining knowledge. Hearing from a person's lived experience makes it a real situation in which people can relate to. For midwifery care, not only does storytelling generate a viewpoint of what it's like to be cared for by a midwife, storytelling also enables partnership between the woman and the midwife.